Hi, this is I'll Explain. This is another I'll Explore and the Super Shock Gundam saga. This is number 5 SG Sazabi. Like every Gundam mobile suit in the Super Shock Gundam lineup, or parts, or members, they have some modification compared to their regular counterparts, aside from being in SD format. Now, as usual, before we continue, let's take a look at the sticker sheet. As you can see, we use most of the stickers. Unfortunately, the beam cannon, the belly beam cannon, is not a very agreeable, and the waste pipe wouldn't work so well either, so we are skipping those. Back to SG Sazabi itself, we will look at some of the difference and features on it, but right away, even without, well, we'll see, but even without much color correction, it looks okay, at least from afar, and it will be even more okay when it is just one leg. But yeah, anyways, let's starting from the head. Right away, you will notice SG Sazabi have a pair of Vulcans on its head, like Sinanju, which, while I do have some suspicion they were trying to make Sinanju with this one, this is another demonstration on Sazabi's lineage, that it is sort of, or a hybrid of a Gundam and Zeon type mobile suit, but we'll leave that when we talk about Sazabi specifically. Another thing worth of note is the Mohawk lens, or the top lens. Not really emphasized in a lot of Sazabi SD models, either be Zangoku or Sangoku, but it is there. And the SG Sazabi decided to emphasize on it. Otherwise, just very much Sazabi. It still have the hole for HG combination, and underneath you can flip it over and have the ball joint. Maybe we'll look at that later when we pull the head off, because when it becomes Super Shock Gundam's leg and foot, it wouldn't be using its head. Chest is very much Sazabi. I use some metallic paints for the belly beam cannon. It looks alright. Unfortunately, it wouldn't work so well on the pipe, so I didn't do that, but that would be fine. Another thing worth of note is the frill or gilt underneath Sazabi's chest. They exist on a regular Sazabi, but it looks very Gundamish when in this SD format and being emphasized. So another thing that, clue that Sazabi is related to Gundam. The skirt is pretty much what Sazabi would look like. It is simplified though. Sazabi have quite a complex and many apogee motors on its front skirt, but we only see a bit of suggestion here and some reinforced rib in the front. The counter thruster sticker is in a bit of a weird shape, but it stays on very well, so I put it on and gives SG Sazabi a bit more color. SG Sazabi's leg is one piece like most other members of the SG Gundam lineup, although so is the foot. It is a bit more squarish, more Gundam-like again, which I would say is a quirk of SG Sazabi, less of Sazabi itself. But yeah, we still get the shell and the reinforced ribs on the legs, so very well sculpted. The shoulder, it also have the reinforced ribs, but panel lighting doesn't stay on very well on them. They are on a bit of a incline. But otherwise, apogee motors in the front still exists. Side armor, like SG New Gundam, it have fan braces for the forearm, so it looks a lot nicer compared to SG Gundam and SG Zaku or SG Charge Zaku. Yeah, show the ugly side of the beam shot rifle. That's fine though. It have a pretty side. And obviously too many pegs for weapon combination. SG Sazabi's backpack is pretty much like a SD Sazabi backpack, except it only have 4 locations to load the candy funnels, wrapped candy funnels. We'll look at those later, but I didn't put all of them on because 1, it would restrict the head movement, and 2, they are a bit too tight, and we are not putting them on in combined mode, so I just leave 1 as a totem. But yeah, otherwise SG Sazabi is just a slightly customized SD version of Sazabi. They are wrapped candy funnels. There are 4 of them instead of 6 of them in the original Sazabi. I wouldn't say that is a terrible cost down, more like a realistic way to load onto the relatively small backpack of SG Sazabi. And if we bring it closer, you can see the apogee motor slots, if I recall correctly, and there are nuts on both sides suggesting that they should beams, and of course peg hole to be low onto the backpack, but yeah, they are a bit too tight for my taste and we are not using them. Let's get SG Sazabi's head here. This head have a lot of parts, 2 half of the back and then the front, the most of the head and the face, and then the top of the frill. So it actually looks really good. Even with the giant seams, it still looks fine. It's a realistic way to have a seam like there, but not on your side skirt armor. And here is the joint, the ball joint that I mentioned. that, let me use some tool. You can flip out the ball joint and use this SG Sazabi's head as a weapon for your other gunpla, or just have it as a second or another head on your gunpla that also have Vulcans. That works too. Here we go. The SG Sazabi. I always like Sazabi, and this is another good Sazabi model, especially for candy toy. It have most of the signature designs of Sazabi included, and yeah, it have the, well, okay, it doesn't have the beam axe sword. That is kind of sad, but it have the beam shot rifle and the red candy funnels. That's plenty cool enough for me. And again, this is a candy toy that is $5 USD, so plenty good enough of a build. And next video we will be assembling and exploring the Super Shock Gundam, and I will try to have a conclusive, more definitive review of the whole series. Thanks for watching.